let's start with the Bucks because I feel like it's a little bit of an easier conversation. So obviously they lost to your Boston Celtics. Giannis had a really just did his all game 7. There was some I felt unfair criticism. Number one hater in sports media, which I think you know who I'm talking about. Not going to name him by name.
Who the hell are you?
You know. You all know exactly who I am. Say my name.
You what? I don't have a damn clue who the hell you are.
Yeah, you do. I'm the cook. I'm the man who killed
the best player on the planet.
Bullshit.
Celtics eliminated Giannis.
You sure? That's right. Now, say my name.
Number one hater in sports.
You're goddamn right.
Saying that, oh, Giannis missed bunnies and this and that, and he should be better. When did you watch the game? Like, it was just him out there at this point. Didn't get much help from his supporting cast. So he has Boston advances. Obviously, they don't have Chris Middleton, and their season's done. This is a little bit, I feel like, a little bit of a BS excuse. Some people are like, oh, well, last season ran a little long. You know, maybe that caught up to them. John, your thoughts on what's next for Milwaukee going forward?
Well, first up, I think some of the criticism is a little bit fair. Some of it's not. Like the fact that they lost, I don't put that necessarily on Giannis. Like you said, the rest of the team just simply did not show up. 4 of 33 from the 3-point line. You're not going to put that on Giannis. Giannis isn't a 3-point shooter. It's the other guys. And he was creating opportunities. So, you start to blame everybody else. But at the same time, I do think there's some fair criticism because he got outscored by Grant Williams on less shot attempts. I think that's just something of note. Like, you're the best player in the world. At least I believe that Giannis is the best player in the world. And I just think that simply put, in an elimination game, I think he needs to put up more than 25 points. I know the Celtics are a really great defense, but we saw on some of these other games, Giannis was able to take over and put up monster numbers. Even in that game 6, he had 44. So 25 points on 26 shots. I think there was just some bad breaks that went his way, but at the same time, there was probably 4 or 5 layups that like he should have made that he normally makes that he didn't make. So he had an off night, and everybody has one of those. So it's not the end of the world. Like we talked about, no Chris Middleton. But moving forward, I do think there's some interesting discussions for the Bucks. I think that the Chris Middleton injury becomes a little dangerous in this offseason because you can use that to give this excuse of, well, if we had him, we would have been fine. And maybe that's true, but this was only the second round. So if hypothetically they had beat Boston with Chris Middleton healthy, you never know what happens with Miami. You never know what happens in the finals. And if Middleton had been healthy and they lost any of those series, then obviously changes would be being made. If you use that as, okay, we don't need to improve because we're just going to get Middleton back, that's not necessarily completely accurate. Brook Lopez is about to be like 35, I'm pretty sure. He's getting up there in age. And so I'm not saying that Brook Lopez is going to retire or necessarily decline because his game also doesn't necessarily require a ton of athleticism, but it is worth noting. It's time to maybe start looking towards the future of what are we going to do with the center position, because Brook Lopez has been very crucial to a lot of what they do on defense, even the floor spacing they have because of his ability to shoot from the big man spot. So that's something of note. Also, you got guys like Grayson Allen, who he had a great start to the absence of Chris Middleton. In Chicago, he was averaging like 20 points a game. In this Boston series, he looked lost. There was points where he was getting played off the court. I mean, in this game 7, he was 0 of 6, 0 of 4 from deep. And, Wesley Matthews, another guy who's sort of trying to fill in those minutes that Middleton had, 1 of 5 in this game, 0 of 3 from deep. Pat Connaughton, 1 of 6, 0 of 5 from deep. So, and obviously that's an off game amongst those 3. Like, you don't expect them all to be that bad, but now you got to start wondering, what is our depth looking like going into these upcoming years? Do we need to start addressing this? What happens if somebody does get hurt? We can't rely on everybody to be healthy. We saw that on the Boston side of things with Robert Williams. He's not healthy. So what is their game plan? They bring in Grant Williams. They have him start more. They shrink the rotation. Derek White gets more time. Peyton Pritchard gets a little more time. And that's kind of it. Daniel Tice. They traded for Daniel Tice. in the event of this happening. And Daniel Tice played minutes in the series because of that. So I think the Bucks are in a very interesting spot to where they don't have to do too much. Obviously, they're still a title contender if they run it back with this roster, but I think they would be foolish to not even make, a few tiny changes, a few little tinkers on the depth, on the bench, and even maybe try to, take a swing and get a guy who can be in your starting lineup. Because, like I said, with Brook Lopez and some of these other bench pieces, you need to start looking towards the future, because these other teams in the East, they're starting to adjust to what Giannis can do. And unless Giannis all of a sudden becomes a way better shooter, that's only going to continue to get harder and harder for him as defenses continue to learn how to stop him over time.
Maybe shuffle in a few role players. I'm not sure what the contracts are. Maybe I'm not sure if George Hill's still on a biggish contract, but he got some playing time, but he really hasn't.
He didn't do much.
He really didn't do much, I feel like, throughout the season. Granted, maybe that's his role, just to fill in when Drew Holiday can, sit a few games, because Drew's also just had a history, especially this year too, just dealing with injuries. But yeah, I don't think, like you alluded to, I don't think you necessarily hit the panic button. You don't sit there and
you
trade
still
Middleton.
have Giannis, Middleton, Drew.
Yeah,
those three are great.
And like I said, you took the Celtics to 7 without Chris Middleton, who, once again, I know not a superstar, but still a really good player. And once again, if you watch the series, Chris Middleton, there's moments where, like Game 7, where everyone's cold, or maybe Game 6 too, where you just need another shot maker / someone else to take the attention off Giannis. Like you mentioned, most of those guys, Connaughton, Wes Matthews, Grayson Allen, their role is to be a spot-up shooter. And Middleton can do that, but Middleton can also, unlike them, create on his own, just because he's like a mismatch on his own, just with his height and general length and just good shot making. So yeah, we'll have to see, because big man is a question, and not a lot of. I was trying to think in my head as you were mentioning, is there another floor spacing big out there that they could get for kind of on the bargain? No one comes to mind. Okay, that can also be a solid rim protector as well. It's like either or. Either you're gonna get, you might be able to find someone that can be a rim protector but can't really shoot. I'm not sure.
Kevin Love will be a free agent. He doesn't really fit the rim protector role, but he could be an interesting fit.
Yeah, and he may open up more. He can do a few things in the post, maybe more that Brook can't do anymore. But who knows? Because Kevin really hasn't. He's been sitting in Cleveland since LeBron left, so I feel like credit to him. If the team around me kind of sucks, I wouldn't really be trying. So who knows what even he has left in the tank at this point of his career. So let's see what happens with the Bucks going forward. But, they do need to make some micro adjustments. May not be time to fire Mike Budenholzer just yet. Obviously, it's still 1 year off a championship. So can't really... It's hard to justify that if you're a front office. So.